Welcome to episode 110 of the Thunder Underground podcast. My name is Trent. As always, I'm joined by Jason, and we've got yet another great guest this week.
This is a good one.
Yeah, we've got Steve Ray coming back. He was on this podcast on episode 14, so it's been quite a while. He was one of our early guests. Here we are, 96 episodes later.
That's right. He is the grand poobah, or one of the grand poobahs of the Tulsa music scene.
That is a great way to put it. Yeah.
That's right. Many stories, so much insight. This is a great conversation.
Yeah. He's got his band, Oklahombres, and of course he was the leader of the band Pitbulls on Crack.
Yes.
Who we both love, and
yes.
I know many other people do as well. So we're going to talk about all that stuff coming up here in a bit. Before we get into that, what do we need to talk about? There was an official announcement from Dryvr.
Yeah, yes, there sure was.
Because, we kind of talked about that when we saw Dryvr at the first day of Holata Fest. They showed up and had Eddie Green from Even the Dogs on vocals, kind of as a surprise to most people, I think. And they made it official just this past week that he's now their singer.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. We don't know what happened. It's not for us to say, but we do know that we saw Eddie with Dryvr, and it was a pretty good little kick in the balls.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty excited. I can't wait to hear some recorded stuff. This should be a great thing.
Yeah, definitely. We've talked to them about coming on here and talking about it, and they said they would. So hopefully you hear that here in the coming weeks.
Definitely.
The Devil You Adore also made an announcement here actually yesterday.
Yes, they did.
That they have, I guess, split ways with Delaney, and it sounded like it was a mutual thing. It wasn't anything bad, and we've talked a ton about that band and about her.
Yeah.
Loved what she brought to the band, but they're moving in a different direction, and they've got Devin LaCour, who was the singer of King High.
Yes, he was. I think we played a King High song.
Yeah. We did, that's probably been about a year ago, but we also saw him live, remember, at the Shrine once.
That's right.
And they were great. He had a great stage presence, a great live voice. So it'll be interesting to see, because this is, when we were talking about Dryvr, what they did, it was a change, because that's two different styles of singers. But this is significantly different, because you're going from a female vocalist to a male vocalist.
Yeah.
And I know that Devin can do the ground stuff and the singing stuff, so it'll be kind of interesting to see how this plays out for the Devil You Adore. I think it'll be good either way.
Definitely.
So yeah, I look forward to that. They've got several shows lined up, so we're going to find out sooner than later, I think.
Yes, we will. Time's making changes, isn't it?
Yeah. Is that a reference to a band we're going to see next week?
Yes, it is. Tesla.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll fit that in somehow.
Yeah. Speaking of bands that... No, I don't really have a segue there.
Hey, you tried.
You gave
it a good old
I thought it was just
try.
something clever was going to come, but it didn't.
I won't hold it against you.
Yeah. Well, how about this? Here's a new band from an old friend. Well, not an old friend, but an old friend in the podcast since our podcast began.
That's right.
Jamie Kaczynski was on this show with us almost a year ago. I think it was last March. It was episode 52. And we get into details on all this stuff, his music. He also runs Impact events. They put on the Not So Silent Night every December, and they also now put on Serpent Stomp in Tulsa, which that's coming up this April, the second installment of that. And he has a brand new band called 13 Minutes, and their debut single, it's This Life, the debut song from 13 Minutes out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. And that song's got it all.
It does.
It's got riffs, it's got lyrics, that have deep meaning. It's got
vocals that'll rip your head off.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got the heavies, the growls, the melodic stuff, and it's even got a chorus that you're singing along to with halfway through the song. Great. It's got that breakdown in the middle. It's just got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, Jamie's back there killing the drums.
Yeah. Looking forward to hearing what else these guys have coming. That's a great debut, I think. It's a really strong track, so I'm really, really hyped to see what these guys have coming.
Definitely.
And I know that was recorded at Simpson Studios, which I think is where we saw Scream Red Mutiny.
Yes, it is. It
record.
That's great.
Like I said, Jamie was on episode 52, so go back and check that out to kind of hear about. I think he talked about the early makings of this band at that point. What he was looking to put together, and of course he talked about Serpent Stomp. And speaking of Serpent Stomp, that's coming up here in April, and 13 Minutes is on that bill. It's also got Grave Robber, who I know that you're a big fan of.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah, I'd love to see them live. So the Serpent Stomp is Saturday, April 22nd, and here in Tulsa. It's got Project 86, Grave Robber, Rival Choir, Broken Flesh, Death Therapy, Becoming Saints, The Weeping Gate, Sardis, Bread for War, Corescape, and 13 Minutes. And that's actually in Owasso, which is a suburb of Tulsa.
Gotcha.
So if you're in this area, get your butt out there. That's a full day of heavy music, because some of those bands, like Broken Flesh, heavy stuff.
Yeah.
So there's kind of a little bit for everything, because Grave Robber, is like horror punk. It's kind of all over the place. There you go, 13 Minutes. You can get that song on Bandcamp, iTunes, YouTube. Get on their Facebook and like them. All right, another area show that just got announced recently was Gemini Syndrome's coming to Tulsa. And I'm bringing this up because we've got some friends, as Eddie Trunk likes to say, that are opening this show.
We make those references every time now. It's going to become a thing.
Yeah. Sorry, it's not Mike Piazza or Scotty Ian, but we've got friends that are as awesome as Mike Piazza and Scotty Ian.
Hey, they're our friends. Been friends with them forever. We know them, we love them. We're personal friends.
Yeah, I just texted Andy from Fist of Rage a minute ago about this show. We've got, who do we have on this? We got Fist of Rage, Reliance Code,
and Altar Blood.
Yeah, so we've got 3 Oklahoma bands on this show. Opening up for Gemini Syndrome out at the Shrine. If you're in this area, get out there. I'm pretty sure this will fill up, because, Gemini Syndrome has a following. And that's just, I'd love to go to the show with just those 3 opening bands. So
definitely. Now, is it Gemini Syndrome and like another touring support, or is it just Gemini Syndrome with these 3 openers?
I think it just listed those 3 openers. So.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a good...
It could be something added later, but as of now, that's all it said on the bill that I saw.
We just saw Altar Blood at Holata Fest. They were awesome, so it's a good bill. Yeah,
Reliance Code, we've talked about them a ton of times, and 2 of the members were just on the podcast, 4 or 5 episodes ago. And that's a great one. These guys have a great, hard rock sound that definitely will fit perfect opening up for Gemini Syndrome. And Fist of Rage the same way. Fantastic live band. We go on and on about them, and for good meaning.
That's right.
You don't want to miss them if they're in your area. April 4th. Well, got anything else we need to talk about before we get into this Steve Ray business?
Now let's just roll the thing.
Oh, just straight into it? Not even preview it?
Well, I think people know what's going on. That's, where I'm at. I mean, it's Steve Ray.
That's a good point. No introduction needed.
That's right.
It sounds like, it's a real original thing.
Yeah. We just take from we kind of got the idea from listening to Eddie Trunk podcasts and Jamie Josta, the singer for Hatebreed. He's got a real good one.
Yeah.
And we just kind of, hey, let's do that.
Yeah.
So we even take a little bit from format wise and stuff from some of that, but I don't know. I like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm talking out of my ass or something, but, I like that, we focus on local stuff. I'm sure there's that kind of stuff around in other cities, but, I just like that we do both,
I think Tulsa's got a unique little scene all its own, Our old guitar player, Andy, moved to Corvallis, Oregon, man, he can't really find anybody, to
Really?
mentally or whatever to jam with. There's a lot of people playing there, but it's a college town.
Yeah.
And he's not college age anymore. So, I could see where that might be a little bit of a hindrance maybe to Portland. But he says, just what he's trying to do, or what he continued to do from when he was in here with, what were they called? Orchestra. Yeah. I think, he can't find those kind of players, even though Yob is up from there and he loves him and he's gets to go see him a lot and hang out with him backstage and stuff. I think he has a couple times, but there is that kind of a scene there, but it's just not as, I don't know, prolific or something as here. It's kind of cool. Tulsa's always been the stepchild of bigger cities, and but there is a little unique thing here all its own, and it goes back to the 50s or something, and it's ever changing,
Do you think, I don't know, sometimes I look back on just the brief around the 98, 2000 that, I was in it for just a short time, but it seems a little bit more like everybody's more supportive of each other nowadays. What do you think about, I don't know.
Well, I certainly hope so. Yeah. I know, there's a lot of, I've been in the scene a long time here, and, there's a lot of ego stuff a long time ago. And, I do think people support, the other bands. You roll up and it's like, that's all that's there. It's the other bands. So, we need to be supporting each other.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And it's like, it's real disheartening when you're playing last and everybody leaves, and it happens more and more. And that's one thing that is not as cool these days. Mm-hmm. But yeah, other than that, I hope that all these guys are supporting each other, because it's really important that everybody express themselves musically in their own way. And the dreaded thing that I hate to hear or read when people are talking about bands is they're good at what they do. That is translated, I hate them. They suck. I'm being nice. They're good at what they do. They're not anything that appeals to me. But it's just, I just hate hearing that. And I've been hearing that for 30 years. Man, just say they suck.
I might have been guilty of using that term myself.
We all have, man. I know I have been too. They're good at what they do. No, man, they're good. Of course they're good at what they do. They're either good or bad at what they do. I don't know. It's just a little pet peeve of mine that I've picked up over the years. And yeah, like I say, I'm just as guilty of saying it about bands, just to try to strain for something nice to say about somebody sometimes. But there's a lot of talent in Tulsa, and I think it should be appreciated by other talented people in Tulsa.
No doubt.
And supported. And I'm guilty of not. I'm getting older, and I've had kids, and, I don't go out that much anymore.
Yeah.
And I would like to go see all my friends on Facebook's band, because there's a ton of them. Mm-hmm. And I try to keep up, before they're playing and this and that. And, I was driving for Uber last year, so if we weren't playing, I had to be driving for Uber on the weekends. And I couldn't,
exactly.
I couldn't go support my friends. And I'm sure, I'm just kind of like the wind and some spirit from the past that just kind of blows through. It's like, yeah, well, Steve Ray was here. Well, really? We didn't even know. So who's that?
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. But, I hope that people are supporting each other. Yeah, really definitely. Big time.
I like what you said about, everybody, by the time the last band comes on, everybody leaves.
Yeah.
They always give, the hot band or the one that's got the most, they always give them that prime time slot.
Right.
It's like, if people are going to come see them, just make them headline anyways.
Yeah.
But I don't,
That's what I think. If they're going to be holding the crowd, let's make them hold the crowd the longest.
Yeah.
That bugs me, because I think if someone's going to show up and see them at 10:30, they would show up and see them at 11:30 or midnight.
Exactly.
So put on the other band in front of them and give them a decent crowd too,
Well, I think where, sometimes this is kind of come into play a lot is when there's there's a show with 7 bands on it, and then it's like, you got a generation that's got a real short attention span, and they're not going to sit in one place for 7 hours watching bands play. They want to see a couple of them, 3 maybe. Just depends. But certainly 7-band bills or more, have their place, and it should be dealt with. But yeah, it'd be nice to see people stick around for the last band more, especially when we are one of them.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Speaking of, many bands, Holata Fest, that was great.
It really, really was, man. I, of course, was friends with John.
Yeah.
Very sad, man. Shocking, the whole thing. The day I heard about the wreck, and then, I heard he was supposed to be okay, and then, Christmas morning, it was just an incredibly bad day.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. It's just a bad time to go on Christmas Day. He's got a 10-year-old kid that, the magic of Christmas is gone for him.
Yeah, it's done.
And it's like a really horrible way for him to grow up at 10 years old. So, no way around it, man. It just sucks that happened to John and Casey. But yeah, Holata Fest was good. It was nice to see all these bands come together, and I think way more money was raised at that thing than any other benefits ever went down in this town, man. Yeah. It was really Steve Murdoch. At one point on the first night, he whipped out a wad of bills as big as his hand he could hold, and he just started going through, and he goes, "Look at this." He goes, "It's all 20s." And I was sitting there looking at him. Everyone was 20. He goes, I've made this from selling raffle tickets for $2 a piece. And I was like, man, you've sold a crap load.
That's great. That's awesome.
Raffle tickets. So, yeah, it's like he had like $2 or $3 grand in his hand from $2 raffle tickets. Yeah. So, man, it's just one of those things with John. It's a very sad deal, and it's sad that thing had to happen at all.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think that, the scene will never be the same without John. Mm-hmm. He had a soul that he brought to the scene that's, just kind of, it's gone. But I mean, it was a rare thing that anybody ever brought to the scene, the kind of soul that John brought. Mm-hmm. And it just kind of galvanized things, without even trying to. It was just his personality and his music, and, people just really wanted to. He was larger than life, like us. But, and I love John, man. I knew him pretty well. I wish I knew him better. Yeah. But we played a couple of gigs with Screaming Red Mutiny. They were great. I remember watching Joint Effect all those years ago, and, man, I love John's voice. He was one of my favorite singers, just my favorite singer in town, period. Yeah. Just the timbre of his voice. It wasn't anything really acrobatic, but it just really appealed to, I think, a lot of people. And I kind of messed with him all the time, when we'd get together. He was with Screaming Red Mutiny, which was, only a year, or if that. And, I always kind of messed with him. He was like, "John, you need to be singing, man." He's like, "Man, I know." You could just tell it's kind of eating at him. Yeah. There's nothing against Sprout because, and I said this when we played the other night, Sprout's a great singer, great front man. And John and him were just apparently best friends, you know. So, nothing against him. It went back to Joint Effect, and before I ever knew Screaming Red Mutiny was going to exist, when Sprout was in Kingshifter and lived in Wichita. Yeah. So yeah, very sad, man. But yeah, it was a great night. Great bands. You guys, man, this band that played after us called Custom Black. Oh man, they were really good.
Really?
Yeah, they were just the pure stoner rock from Kansas City. In fact, Sprout brought them down.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, 3-piece band, good vocals, just pure stoner rock, and it was just awesome. Couldn't believe how good they were. Couldn't believe my fortune. But yeah, every band that I did see, and I didn't see every band, but it was great to see Screaming Red Mutiny. It's real emotional.
Yeah, it was.
And it got that way again. Sprout got up and sang Joint Effect tribute the second Saturday, and kudos to everybody, Steve Murdoch and everybody that did put this thing together in kind of a short notice. And we, from our end, we were asked to do it about a month ago.
Yeah.
And we didn't have a couple of members. So anyway, we kind of scrambled just because we wanted to be part of it, you know. So I think that's a big deal. You know, so many bands wanted to be a part of that. It's too bad about John, man.
Yeah.
Do you think it's something that could be a yearly event that...
You know, they're talking about that. I don't know how they will approach that from a business standpoint. I mean, you're going to call it Holata Fest. Is it all just going to go into some sort of trust fund or whatever? I'm sure it'd be, you know, a lot of questions they're asking right now.
Right.
If they're going to continue to do it every year. You can't just, you know, use somebody's name like that over and over without the family's,
right,
you know,
exactly.
permission. So then there can be legality. So who knows, man? I hope they do. Why not, man?
Yeah.
I think John's going to have far-reaching effects on this scene anyway, you know. Yeah. I know we got together, you know, we scrambled to get something together just to play this thing. And so they're, you know, Exhibit A. And who knows how long reaching effects or in what ways he will affect things, you know, in his passing and and his legacy, you know, which is basically what it, if it continues, is his legacy, you know. So I hope it does.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned you guys had to scramble. So what's the kind of status of the band as far as full-time members?
Yeah, we had a couple of members leave, Danny and Tony, and you know, we wish them well. Musical differences and all that, you know, it's kind of cliche, but we truly do wish them well, and there's no hard feelings. But whatever they decide to do, we wish them well. And so Chad and Mark and I decided to stick it out, and we weren't really sure how this was going. We talked to some bass players. We tried out a couple of bass players. And I just don't know if we even really knew what we wanted, you know. And it was some kind of, so this was going to be drug out into the summer before we got back to playing. So this kind of, Holata Fest lit the fire under our ass. And so we got our old original guitar player, Joel McKay, back. And he did a fantastic job, and it was just like he never left. And, you know, and we could not have pulled this thing off without him, because we did get a new bass player, Bob Ramsey, that was in Bad Root, and he's an old friend of mine, and he's a good bass player and a good musician. You know, but he had to, like, learn all this stuff that he'd never tried to play. And, you know, I think we did maybe 10, 12 practices before we played the show. And so Joel kind of helped cement, you know, the rhythm section, which is a rhythm guitar player. So he cemented that with Bob. And so we kind of went into this with the mindset of we're just doing this for the show. And then after, you know, our focus is all on that. And after that, then we'll figure out, you know, if we like what you guys are bringing to the table, or if you guys want to still continue. So we kind of bounced it around, you know, while we were doing this. But we never really solidified anything. But I think it is solidly the lineup going forward. It was with Joel and Bob. And I hope it all works out. I think they're wanting to, I think they're willing participants. Yeah. In our evil scheme to overthrow the world.
That's right. So, well, hopefully this room will be filled with gear again.
Yeah, well, it always is, man. I mean, it's like echoey in here. And I wish you guys could see Chad's drums. They're quite a sight to behold in person, believe me.
Yeah, I forgot to bring that up. I wanted to mention that drum head from the show. Was that pretty cool. Did he put that together or himself?
That is Chad's idea from the word go, man. That was all him. Chad brings really good ideas to the table. It was his idea about the bullet. You know, he just brings in good ideas, man. And then he has the willingness to, you know, financially back them up, because let's face it, you come up with ideas, and most of the time it's going to cost money.
Yeah.
So, he's the man. And we're lucky to have Chad. He's a great drummer. He's the drummer I quintessentially have been looking for. He is basically Xanadu of drummers for me. He's the Bonham type drummer that, I kind of forsook all that with, thrash, and it was like, who cares about, Bonham anymore? I want, blast beats. But I've kind of come full circle, and, so that's now where I feel that he is in my hierarchy of drummers I've played with. So
nice.
Yeah, nice to have finally after all this time.
Yeah. You mentioned that that bullet.
Yeah.
I still got mine.
Awesome.
How did those do? Would you do another run of those or do that again?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
It's one I think Chad should answer.
I had to bring it up.
And I'm sure,
Chad will do it again.
Yeah.
if things go well, I'm sure, we will, and we will, record again and whatever, and have those shows for the intention of, downloading our new music onto your bullets.
Yeah.
And it's an incentive to come to the show. So, but I don't know.
Yeah.
We're going to have to we've got a lot of work to do ahead of us, and we're already, people are wanting to play shows, and we're just like, we're not really quite ready yet. But like I said, we need to solidify everything. But yeah, those bullets, hopefully we do some more of those, and hopefully, we'll come up with more product, and he'll have even greater ideas.
There you go.
Crazier things that have never been done before.
Yeah.
That's what Chad brings to the table at times. So me, I just sing and look good. Yeah.
Well, have you talked about recording new stuff, or is that just?
Oh, it's down the line. We have talked about doing some things. Yeah. At this point, it's not really. It's kind of far fetched right now. To realistically try to push that. We push this gig so hard that we kind of taking some time off. Tonight's usually our practice night, so we're taking a little bit of time off to kind of catch our breath from what we were trying to do. Man, it was really, really, really busy, and everybody was definitely sacrificing to come to practice all the time and practice every minute we could. So, we had 7 songs ready at the show, which wasn't quite the 45 minutes that they were looking for, but it was about 30, 35. So, so we need to kind of, expand our set list some more, and we've got some kind of ideas of stuff we want to do. And as far as recording again, I'm sure we're going to, but I'm not sure if we got a timetable for that, or if where we're exactly going to record again, or if we may. Mark has been talking about doing it himself, which is, the guy, on the other end of Chad with all his great ideas. Mark is the professor. That's what I always call him, is the professor. He's the smartest dude I've ever met. And it's just like he just puts his mind on, he's going to do it. And so he did record us a couple of times, and he's done some mastering programs and this kind of thing. So it's a little beyond my scope, but he's a telecommunications guy, and he knows electronics and just the whole thing. And so we may go that route with Mark recording us. I don't know. We did that before. We just wasn't happy enough with it to release it. So it was a few years ago. Yeah.
Well, like you said earlier, the show lit a fire with you guys again, so that's cool that you're, going for it again.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah.
I am very fortunate to still be doing this, not only for so long, but, at my age and all that stuff. So, I'm very fortunate, man. There's a lot of dudes that are younger than me that have, like Andy, talking about in Corvallis, Oregon from Pitbulls. There's other guys here that can't really get stuff going on. It's kind of hard it's not the easiest thing to do in the world. I mean, it's not like waving a magic wand. Mm-hmm. It takes some willingness with other parties to, put together a band and then have some chemistry and, all these things. And life doesn't get in the way. And you have to, step out or whatever. So, and I've had to do that before, and other people will too. So, anyway, yeah, I'm very lucky. Yeah. Very lucky to have these guys that I have. And we were lucky that we got Joe back. Thank you, Joe, if you're listening. Yeah, we were really, really lucky to get him back. And, Bob did not hesitate. We called him. So, somebody's kind of wants to do something here. And I'm glad that, it's guys that we know. Because if we have to put out an ad or whatever, then you don't know this person. I don't want him to come over to my house when I don't know him.
Exactly.
Right. Not that he would, it's just like a 50-50 crapshoot of, what kind of personality you're going to be dealing with. So, or if they're thieves,
That would be bad.
Yeah. So you never know.
No.
I know last year you guys were playing some Doomsday Junkies songs. Is that just because the members were there to do it?
Well, that was part of it, yeah. The other part was, Chad, the guy with all the great ideas, we turned him onto it, and he loved it. And he spearheaded and pushed for us to play that. It was largely him pushing that, and we were real slow to kind of come around to it. I think slower than he wanted us to be, but we eventually did. He just kept pushing for it. Because, I like the Doomsday stuff, but it was just like, it was like taking a step back in my mind, and I wanted to be taking a step forward. And I was like, it's wasting time. We could be writing better songs or whatever. But, he just fell in love with it. And so, yeah, we only played it pretty sparingly. We did like one song a couple of times, and then two shows we did. And we were both with Screaming Red Mutiny. We played like five Doomsday Junkie songs. I'll get you a CD before you guys leave.
Okay.
Yeah. Interesting stuff. Maybe you can play it.
Yeah. We would, for sure.
Hopefully.
Well,
hopefully you like it.
Trent he was talking about when we had the guy from Nonpoint on, and talking about Brady Theater, and you said you had some haunted Brady Theater stories.
Oh yeah, I remember.
We were going to ask you about that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because we were, that's the first time we had been backstage, and we were walking up down that.
I couldn't believe
that spiral staircase, and he's like, "Man, I'd hate to be walking down this one night when I was drunk."
Well, it's funny you bring that up, man. That's kind of the focus and the pinpoint of the haunting is that spiral staircase off to the stage right.
Yeah.
And there's a ghost that if you're coming down the stairs, there's a ghost that will pop out. There's like a door that goes up the balcony. It's closed most of the time for, mortals. But so this ghost will push you down. You can feel his hands on your shoulder and like not push you down and where you're rolling, but just kind of push on you, make you run down the stairs, and you get to the bottom and you turn around and there's nobody there. I mean, there's nobody all the way up, and it's like, man, I even seen the guy out of the corner of my eye, and when this first started happening to me, I was working with Brady. I just thought, man, these guys are messing with me. All these my coworkers. And it's like, I didn't believe in this crap. It's like, it took me a long time to figure it out. And it was actually, talking with different people that did believe that the Brady was haunted. It was just like, well, I think I've had some experiences there. There's actually quite a few more. You can I don't know. There's like a lady that wears a green. Yeah, with green dress with white polka dots. She's like dressed from the 20s or something. I don't know. I don't want to, get into this thing where just like somebody's going to be able to prove that I'm crazy in a court of law one day down the road. But I'm just saying that it's probably not that hard to do. But yeah, it's very haunted.
Yeah.
It's very haunted. And yeah, that spiral staircase, I've been pushed down that thing 2 or 3 times. It's been a long time. I can tell you that I'm not scared to go there.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't scare me, but I don't really want to go there by myself.
Yeah.
And, you know, yeah, it's like, you know, the legend is the stage manager hung himself in there in the rafters on the fly floor above the stage, which is real tall, and supposedly scribbled out some sort of suicide note. And then Enrico Caruso, the opera singer, he allegedly haunts it. And then, of course, you know, the Riots 21 is, you know, rumored they were burning bodies in the incinerator at the bottom. And I don't know, you know how true all that is, but it would certainly stand to reason for that time period of, you know, how white people were treating black people back then. And it was some big deadliest riot in the whole country, you know, race riot. So hopefully, you know, and it's coming up on 100 years. And the Brady was the convention center back in those days. So,
really?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and it was, but it is, there is something to it, man. I haven't been in there. Well, I went and saw Lamb of God there.
Yeah.
But I haven't worked there, you know, and that's when it kind of gets crazy. You get, I remember being down on, like, the front of house is where, you know, the soundboard goes. This is called front of house. So I remember, you know, they have sometimes these shows with just big, huge, elaborate boards. You weigh a ton. You need like 6, 8 people to, you know, get them out of the case and set them up and all this stuff. And, you know, you'd always be like trying to undo these cases or latch them back. And, you know, and you'd feel tap, tap, tap on your shoulder while you're bent over, and you turn around and there's nobody there, man. And you just start just kind of weird stuff, you know, where it's just weird enough that you think, you know, I'm being initiated by the stagehands here, you know, and you don't really, you know, run out of there screaming or anything like that. It's just like you start just going, what the hell's going on here, man? You know, so yeah, it is really weird. But I know about half the people I knew that worked there, you know, swears up and down that they've never felt any kind of, you know, paranormal thing. Yeah. But there's about the other half, had. Yeah. And so it's kind of a cool thing, the unexplained. I think they did have like some kind of paranormal crew go down there with the news crew one time and try to, you know, to have all this paranormal equipment. I don't know what they do. Yeah. I don't really watch this crap anymore, you know. So, but yeah, I think they've been down there. I don't know. There's rumor that they would have exorcisms and stuff at the Brady after violent metal shows.
Yes, that's right.
Well, I remember being. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, when up there, wasn't there another staircase that goes
exactly.
up?
That's what I was going to bring up. Yeah.
And I was just curious as to where that went, or what's up
on
there.
the stage right side.
Yeah. They had us. We got up that spiral one, and they had us wait in this room, and right by there was the staircase just went up to like darkness, and I was like,
yeah. When you come up to the one level, there's, you know, you look and there's a stage door off to your left, and then you come up, and then it kind of plateaus out. And then there's like a catering room there, which is probably the room you were sitting in. It's pretty good sized room. Yeah, with windows and everything. Yeah. And then if you keep going, you know, for about, I don't know, 12, 14 feet or something like that, there's a bathroom there, and then there's more stairs that go up, and that goes up to the fly floor, which I've watched a lot of shows from there. And you know, it's like a catwalks and all that stuff for the rigging and all that stuff. So yeah. You know, they don't let VIPs or any, you know, ticket holders go up there, you know, because if you don't know what you're doing or where you're going, or watch your step or whatever, you could hurt yourself. I don't necessarily mean kill yourself, but you could hurt yourself. So, yeah, that's allegedly where the stage manager hung himself in the 1940s or 50s. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a long time since I worked at Brady. But yeah, I remember I had to say something to you guys because, man, one time I got the overnight girl from the Edge was like, she was really young and she was just like, oh, bullshit, Brady's not haunted. That's the biggest bunch of bullshit. And I was like, okay, I'll tell you what. You need to talk to your PD, your program director. And, Halloween's coming up, whatever, and you guys could do a lot of promo. You're going to do a live remote from the Brady all night. You're going to do your shift, which was like midnight to 6 or whatever, 5. And she was like, oh, that's a good idea. I'm going to do that, and I was laughing. I was like, you'll never spend a whole shift there by yourself. I promise you. And she's all, oh, yeah. Well. And so she did. She talked to her program director, and they talked to Larry Schaefer at the time. And Larry talked to her, and he goes, I will let you do it. He goes, but if you call me to have you let you out before your shift's over, he goes, I'm going to charge you $500.
Wow.
And so she chickened out. She couldn't put that money where her mouth was.
That's great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That would have been an easy $500.
Oh, man, can you imagine the ratings there? It's like all these people that work at night and stuff, man. It would just be listening to that. It would be like the morning show ratings for a graveyard show.
Yeah, overnight. No kidding.
Yeah. That would have been awesome. I still wish I'd do it.
Yeah.
Why not? It's still haunted, probably. Yeah. I don't know. I haven't worked there in a long time, but
It'll be ready.
See if you can get a hold of them. Three of us will go out there and record 6 hours worth of.
Man, yeah, you guys should. You guys should.
Let's do it.
You should do all your shows at the Brady. When nobody else is there and there's just like one light bulb on a mic stand out on the stage. I've seen that.
Yes.
It's creepy.
Wow.
Yeah. You instantly hear things.
Nice.
Yeah. It's scary looking building, man, at night.
Yeah.
When it's dark in there.
I bet.
So, yeah.
I heard recently from, I'm not going to say from who, but someone told me that they're considering shutting down.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
Just because they're having so much trouble booking shows because of all the casinos.
Yeah, that's coming into play too, and I don't know when the last time they've had a decent facelift for the Brady. Yeah, it's kind of almost inevitable to a degree, but
it seems like somebody will shut it down for a while, but it comes back or something.
Yeah,
it seems like it's happened a couple times.
Well, it's always been the same owner, and it's Peter Mayo.
Yeah.
So. As far as I know, he still owns it, but they have DCF concerts doing a lot of stuff in there, has been, and I used to work for those guys, and all the cool stuff that comes there, is usually them. Basically, all the stuff that comes there, and I think that Peter Mayo, from what I heard, was ready to shut it down until DCF came along saying, no, we want to book here. And so I don't think that, Peter Mayo's same family as a Mayo Hotel. I don't think he's, hurting for money or anything like that. So it would be sad, man, but yeah, it's probably inevitable. So anytime they got something halfway cool, everybody needs to go.
Yeah.
Because it's like already that Hendrix thing is moved to the casino.
I was going to bring that up.
Yeah, and that sucks.
Yeah, and because those tickets are freaking sky high now.
Oh, yeah.
It's stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just a real sterile environment compared to the Brady. It
really is.
I don't know. But
I agree.
Plastic environment, I guess.
You are correct.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the exact show I was going to bring up because it's always come to the Brady, and now it's at the Hard Rock, and
Well, the times are changing, man, and you can't fight it. And I know, when I was working concerts in the 90s, everything that came through Tulsa, Larry Schaefer's who I worked for, and, he had a hand in everything. If he didn't have the direct hand in it, he had a hand in it.
Yeah.
They would always be using his security or his stage hands or his barricade at the very least, or, he was, and it was great, then, and I miss those times too, where it's like, all all the cutting edge punk bands and metal bands were coming to Cain's, and then the has been kind of 70s, not really has been, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Just kind of the used to be's or whatever, they were coming too, and you just never. Every week was just going to be something different, and you never knew what kind of show was coming up.
Yeah.
After past a month or two, and you do bands like Asleep at the Wheel and Ian Moore and stuff like that in there all the time. And man, it was great culture for me.
Yeah.
Because I got to see everything and not just kind of wonder about it. And they used to have that song. Cake had that song, How Do You Forge Your Rock and Roll Lifestyle back then? Well, that's how I did it. I worked the shows.
Yeah. It's weird. It's like maybe I'm too much of a metal guy, or I might have touched, but I'll look at the Cain's concert calendar and I might know like one act, that whole list. I'm like, I don't even know who these people are.
Well, they've had to specialize. And fortunately for them, it's basically the owner's kids. That's kind of the thrust of bands that they're bringing or stuff they're into.
I figured it was something like that.
The thrust of it, the main thrust of it, is stuff they're into. Well, it works. It is, because the same fate could come to the Cain's as there's Brady or anything. Nothing lasts forever. So, I like the Rogers that own it now. They've keeping it out of corporate hands as far as I'm concerned, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not as much there that interests me to go see. The last time I went there, I went to see The Sword, I think. It's been a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't go there much. Maybe once a year.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like pretty much one of the caretakers of that thing, and that's like when you look at the history of that place, I was lucky to get that.
So, random question then. What do you know about the springs in the floor? Because I've seen people argue on Facebook saying there are springs, there aren't springs.
Okay. Well, you remember how I had to explain this whole Aerosmith thing to you guys last time, right? I'm going to now solve that one for you. Okay. The Cain's was a car dealership originally when they built that building. And they had pits in the floor. And they had two big ones, not like you see at Lightning Lube or Jiffy Lube or whatever, it was just a little short one. And it was like these big long ones.
Yeah.
They had two of them. And so they could work on the cars, I guess. I don't know. Who knows what a dealership was like in the
no kidding.
20s or early, 18. And it was all the oil boom and the oil driven and the high rollers coming here anyway. So that was this, and that went away because of the nature of the high rollers and everything here in the oil. The Cain, Madison, Mad Daddy Cain or whatever, Madison Cain, I think was his name. He started the dance academy.
Yeah.
Okay, and that was before Bob Wills. And they did ballroom dancing, and they gave lessons, and they had balls, and that kind of thing. So they put in a dance floor, and allegedly they put it over these pits. Now, who knows? When they did the remodel back in 2004, when I worked there, we would always tell everybody, spring-loaded dance floor. Everybody, is the oldest in the state, and all this stuff, so we bought into all of it, just all word of mouth, though. We never looked underneath the floor. So they had to tear out the floor. The floor's in really bad shape, and they tore out the floor, and they found these pits or whatever, or what they thought were, and they did a story in the newspaper about how there's no springs down here. There's no spring-loaded dance floor. And and they interviewed the Rogers and all this stuff, and it was like they didn't find it. And well, I don't know about you guys, but that dance floor would pogo your ass up and down.
Yep.
Well, after that story ran,
a couple, 3 years after that, they found the springs somehow. I don't know because I never was there during the remodel or anything, but that's what I heard. They later on found the springs. They were not in the pits.
Yeah.
They were under the, I don't know how exactly it was. Now, that's what I've heard. That's what I've been an impression all this time, and I feel that is pretty correct. Mm-hmm. That it just, the technology of a spring-loaded dance floor that from the 50s or whatever just wasn't around in 1910 or 15 or when they built the Cains. It was just different. And they didn't really know what to look for, so they finally figured it out somehow. I don't know if anybody else can clear that up. You can get on my Facebook and let me know. But that's the whole thing as I understand it. Yeah. But yeah, we always told people spring-loaded dance floor. Man, it would. You would bounce. Yeah. You could just basically stand there still and kind of bounce you. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing Ian Moore there way back in the day, and the place was just. Yeah. I mean, it was just pulsating.
Yeah. It was fun, man. Yeah. Kind of like a foot massage.
It's great.
Yeah. Well, working all those shows, could you say what your favorite show was?
Oh, at the Cains?
Yeah.
Well, there was some definitely, I don't know about favorite. There was definitely some memorable ones. I think the Ministry one there where the, I don't know if you guys went, about 95 or 6 or something. And they,
with the stink bomb?
Yeah.
Or it was tear gas?
The tear gas bomb or the pepper spray bomb or whatever it was. That was pretty memorable because they had the bathroom shut down and had speakers all the way from wall to wall, all the way to the walls, so you couldn't walk around to go to the bathroom. And we had just, I swear we talked about this last time, but yeah, we had just worked the blues festival for 2 days. On no sleep, man. We had the biggest load in of Cain's whole existence, and I can promise you that. That was pretty memorable. The time that Pit Bulls got to open for Anthrax and Misfits was very memorable. One of my favorite things there. Yeah. And I don't know. There were some cool things there in the day that I worked. There really was. When we did it back in those days, Cain's didn't have air conditioning. It closed down through June and July. Yeah. Well, they decided to go ahead and do Collective Soul and Dave Grohl.
Oh, yeah.
Were you guys at that?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that was so hot. I'm surprised people didn't die.
I know. Yeah. I know. That was insane.
And they said, well, we're going to bring these huge fans. It'll be fine. They put so many people in there. It didn't matter how big the fans were. There was no circulation whatsoever out of them. Just a waste of electricity.
God, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was.
That reminds me, this is probably when we talked to you last. Is that story about my ex? She was at that show, back then. We didn't know each other back then. We were kids. But she had on the big 1995 Jinko huge jeans,
Oh, yeah.
And she said when she walked out of that show, those jeans were just dragging behind her. They were completely soaked with sweat.
Yeah, I bet.
And she could barely walk. I mean, that's how intense that show was, and like just sweaty.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, we were part of some, good stuff there, man, in those days. And I think that, whether you were just going to shows there back then, you were part of something cool.
Yeah.
Because it was kind of a different than it is now.
Yeah. Yeah, it is way
Can kids go to the casinos and get into shows? I don't even know how that works. Mm-hmm. I don't go to casinos.
I think you can go to shows.
Can you? All age?
I don't know. Don't quote me on that. I have no idea.
Well, there was all age at the Cains back then.
Yep.
Probably to the dismay of parents everywhere.
But dismay of mine, that's for sure. Yeah. That's for sure.
Yeah, we got you mentioned the Anthrax.
Oh, God, I totally forgot about. Oh, my God.
We got stopped by the cops when we were leaving. There was probably 6 of us. And we're just walking down the street, and these 3 cops just swarm up, pull out guns, tell us to get on.
It was the night some cop got shot. So they had all the off-duty people, and the Misfits were so loud and you
Yes.
couldn't tell what was going on.
Yes.
We were just like, we're leaving. I mean, we can't even understand what. Anyways, so that's why there's like 4 or 5 of us walking by ourselves, nobody else around because we left early.
Right.
And these off-duty cops just honed in and had us on our knees and
Man.
all kinds of stuff.
Because they said we matched the description of a white guy in black shirt or something like
Shirts and
I'm like,
jeans.
and my friend, is like, well, you're about to see 1,000 more here in like 10 minutes or something.
Yeah,
Like
we're
Yeah.
like, shut up, don't pop off to them. They're going to shoot us.
Yeah, I remember that night at the ministry with the pepper spray bomb. Like, guy came up and told me about it. I was doing paperwork in the back. I didn't even know what had happened, and then he came up and told me about it. He said, "We're looking for a guy with long black hair, wearing a black T-shirt and jeans." And I'm like, "Good luck with that."
Yeah.
You know,
That's great.
like, okay, that described everybody that was here.
Wow.
Anyway, yeah, that sucks, man. When the cops do that to you, that would tend to give me nightmares. You know, they're pulling guns and all screaming at me and get down on the ground. I don't get down on the ground as fast as I once did
Yeah.
for anything, unless I fall.
Yeah.
So,
And getting back up's even harder.
yeah.
Well, you mentioned the Sword earlier. Have you heard their acoustic album they did?
You know, I have not
Okay.
taken any of the time to listen to any of that.
Yeah.
But,
It's high country, just exact, but just acoustic.
yeah,
It's pretty interesting.
that kind of didn't set well with me for some reason.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, you know what? I just assume you just did another album,
Yeah.
even if it is acoustic, you know. So I don't know, man. I'm sure it's good though. I definitely love the Sword. I know I told you guys that last time. It's like really all I'm into.
Yeah.
But no, I haven't been keeping up with anything lately.
Yeah, there was another. I'm drawing a blank. What's the singer from Caius's name?
Oh,
Garcia.
Garcia.
Yeah, John Garcia. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he released an album just a few weeks ago. It was basically the same thing, but it was from throughout his entire career, like Caius's solo stuff
Yeah,
and a couple, I think, originals. But I
Yeah.
listened to it; it was great.
I heard Green Machine, acoustic version of that, and it kind of cracked me up, man. But it was good. You could tell it was him.
Yeah.
You know, and I love those guys, man. That band was kind of a game changer for me.
Yeah.
It really was, and you know, they let me know that it was okay to slow things down, and you know, it had to be playing everything 70 miles an hour. Yeah, and they did it so well, and it was really heavy doing it. You know, that was one concert I actually worked. You know, the early '90s. It was Caius opened up for White Zombie and Danzig, and they were not. Yeah, it was Blues for the Red Sun album. And we were helping them, you know, we were helping these guys. And of course, you know, at that time, White Zombie and Danzig were pretty big rock stars. Well, Caius was, you know, they're just another local band on tour, luckily on tour with those guys. And just very cool, didn't put on any airs or anything. And we helped them set up. And it was Brant Bjork, Oliveri, you know, of course, Homme and Garcia, that lineup. And they were very cool, man. And then we were pulling up all their gear, which was setting up in front of White Zombie, which was setting up in front of Danzig, you know, so they had like zero room. And we're like loaded up 2 big bass rigs, you know. It's like, man, you know, on each side of the stage, I'm like, where's your guitar rigs? I'm like, oh, that's it. You play out of a bass rig? Yeah, that's what we do. I'm like, oh, wow. That should be interesting.
That's insane.
Yeah, they were really cool guys, man. At that point, they had, you know, achieved a lot of success.
Yeah.
So they hadn't been, you know, I don't know what it does to you. I'd love to know.
Wouldn't we all?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Apparently, it makes you more shallow.
But hey, I'd love to find out.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, Pepper Keenan opening for Lamb of God.
Yeah.
Back with COC. I mean, I was over the moon. How were you?
Oh, yeah, man. That was just totally great. I know. I'm so glad because, you know, they booted Reed Mullen again for his alcoholism just like weeks into that tour. And we happened to be able to see Reed play with him. So, Pepper back with him. Yeah, it was a really good night. I wish, even when I heard of that show, I was like, man, wait a minute. Clutch is opening for Lamb of God? I don't get that, and COC too, So I'd love to heard longer sets from both of them, but nothing against Lamb of God. They're awesome. But they're just not as old school as them guys. So I just don't. Yeah. I get it. Kind of. Yeah, Clutch has turned things down a lot too over the years. They're not near as loud as they used to be.
Yeah.
So I remember they opened up for Orange Goblin, man. Orange Goblin opened up for them at Cain's, and Goblin was so freaking loud, and then Clutch got up there and just like turned it about half volume of that. Tell who the old guys are.
Yeah. We definitely loved COC and Clutch more than Lamb of God too. So.
Oh yeah, but
But yeah, just like
light's been through so much, man.
Yeah.
Let me turn some light on, man. I'm sorry, guys. I know this is good radio. So anyway, yeah.
But yeah, I can't wait to hear that album they're making.
Yeah, I know. That's got.
Oh yeah.
That's gonna be great.
Yeah, well.
So are you skipping your first question you wrote down?
Hmm? Oh yeah.
Or it's not a question.
I thought I had the rest of them memorized. I put my phone away, but I had to give you a hard time about the Cowboys because I'm a huge Giants fan. So
yeah, I kind of noticed that on Facebook.
I don't.
What's nice about it though?
I don't gloat. I'll just put like a picture, Because the minute I start getting too braggy is when they do something stupid, and then everybody pounces on me.
Well, it's almost like, there's Tom Brady and then there's everybody else.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's like, yeah, we suck. So do you because Brady's better, and, 7 times to the Super Bowl. Man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
1-5. And, so, yeah, the Cowboys, I did get to go to the Detroit Lions Cowboys game. I'd never been to AT&T Stadium to see a Cowboys game anyway. Saw OU in there, but good stuff, man.
Yeah.
Good stuff. That place is wired tight.
Yeah.
I mean, we were on the 4th level. I'm going to tell you what, you sitting there, jump up and down, real fast, and be my age and everything. On that 4th level, you're so high in the air, it's like, whoa. Yeah. You start to get dizzy real fast.
Now, I've never been yet. That place looks massive, though.
Well, most, I think they're not the only 4th level stadium around now, but most of them are 3.
Yeah.
Even like BOK is just 3.
Yeah.
Well, just to picture that with a 4th level on top. Yeah. Well, we were about 5 or 6 rows from the wall, from the very top. And so, man, you're just really up there. When you're looking down on that field, I mean, the players look like, you remember those old electric football games? I mean,
Yes.
That's basically what it looked like. And, it was good, though. I mean, they had that big screen. And I know, I heard you guys talking about that today. You're going there to see...
Yeah, old Metallica.
Metallica, yeah.
Metallica.
It's a great place, man. You can tell that, you know. You can tell that no stone was left unturned with Mr. Jerry Jones.
Oh, yeah.
And,
he goes big.
Yeah, it was a good place, man. Escalators all the way up to that 4th level. I was like, God, there's no way I can do stairs. I'm like, we're going to have to look for elevators. They had elevators too, but escalators was the way to go.
Yeah. Thank God. I'm gonna need it.
A series of them.
Wow.
Until you get to the 4th level. So, it is fun. You're going to have fun. Is that the first time you're going to be there?
That'll be my first time being there.
Yeah.
He went to see Guns N' Roses.
Well, I've seen a few football games there, but it's always been college.
Yeah.
Saw a couple of U games and then another.
Oh, yeah? I was at the
Big 12 championship. Was like Texas and Nebraska.
Oh, yeah?
Because it was free. I wouldn't pay to see either of those teams. But
did you see the last Big 12 championship there, OU?
Yeah.
Nebraska? I was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was there on the field working. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I know you were at that Kansas game that I went to, too. OU Kansas?
Yeah.
I saw you were there at that. Yeah, that was a good game. So, yeah, they're at the last – I don't really matter because you're not a Cowboys fan, but last 3 months of the year, I went to see OU, and then I saw Black Sabbath, and then I saw Jason Bond's Led Zeppelin Experience, which basically to me was Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
And then I saw the Cowboys in 3 months. That happened to me,
that.
and it was like, yeah. And it was so surreal. Did you guys go to Black Sabbath?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So surreal watching election return, thinking about election returns while you're sitting there
I know.
mesmerized by what's going on in front of you.
Yep.
And then it's like, oh, yeah. And then you're looking at it going, man, I can't believe Trump's winning.
I know. Well, wasn't it like, it was, I don't know why, but I got home and it was still going.
Yeah,
TV.
Yeah, it was still.
And so I just stayed up even later going,
Yeah.
I cannot. Oh my God. And it kept going. I'm like, well, I'm going to get another beer. I got to be at work in the morning, but who cares? This is too.
I remember we were just joking all the way leading up to it that, it's kind of fitting. You're going to hear War Pigs and Children of the Grave on that night, no matter who gets nominated,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that was kind of the way, it was damned if we did or damned if we didn't almost. So
It is just the interesting historic thing, yeah.
yeah, I think it's like the fact that we were just, left with those two. Here's your choice. It goes, you just kind of look around your shoulder going, who's setting this crap up these days?
Right.
Yeah.
What kind of Illuminati bullshit is this,
Yep. Well, it's like I told him, my brother's like the biggest redneck, Ted Nugent loving conservative, whatever, and he was like, "This guy sucks. I can't believe this is who we know." He's like, "I'm not even going to vote." I mean, that's saying something.
I think there was a lot of people that kind of, were, didn't really want to vote for it, either one of them. And a lot of people went out and voted for the Libertarian, and, I don't know if he got more votes than any Libertarian, but it just, you just knew it wasn't going to be enough.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so, yeah, those third parties do kind of play a hand in the final thing, but but it was surreal watching that and knowing that was it. Basically, it was the last time you're going to get to see him.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just really weird watching the election returns and looking at Ozzy and looking at your phone and going, CNN says Trump's going to win. I'm like, man, Ozzy, stop this, Ozzy.
Right as War Pig started. He sounded good, though. He sounded all right.
I thought they sounded great for their age, man. I mean,
they
come
were
on.
Awesome.
Yeah, and Ozzy has been using the teleprompter for decades now, so he's, he did about what I expected him to, just kind of stood there and rocked.
Yeah.
It was good stuff, man. I was real happy that I got to go to that.
Yeah, I was, for the longest time, I was like, I've seen him, I've seen Ozzy, I don't really know, but then closer it got, I was like, I got to go.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
I was really, really, really pleasantly surprised when, they just played all old stuff. There was no songs off 13 or anything like that. But, when you're sitting there watching that and you're watching these great songs, like you're saying, Children of the Grave or Into the Void or whatever that they were doing, and you sit there and think, man, they've got all this other material that they didn't even record with each other. They've got like 6 hours worth of hold your attention material here, if they start busting out Crazy Train and Heaven and Hell and all this other stuff, it's like, man, these guys are responsible for some really cool music over our lives, so.
Yeah, there's a lot of history in the room.
Yeah, it was awesome, man. I did think about that a lot. I was like, no, they're not going to play Crazy Train or Mr. Crowley. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw something like just a few weeks ago when it was coming up before the final show where Tony Iommi had said, because it made it sound like it was the final show, but now they're saying it's just the final tour.
Yeah.
Oh, you gotta love that.
So they can leave it open.
One off every.
They can leave it open to doing one-off shows.
Well, hey, man, I was working the night Ozzy came to Tulsa with no more tours.
Right.
You know, that was supposed to be it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, hey, more power to them. If they can do it and they're physically able. I remember, you know, I was really upset about Bill Ward on that whole fiasco, you know, Sharon. It's easy to kind of blame her, but I really think that if people look at, you know, the history there, the last time Sabbath got together with Ozzy, you know, they had the drummer for Faith No More on tour with him because Bill just couldn't pull it off some nights, and it was just as a backup. They were paying him outrageous money to go on the road. You know, I just don't know if Bill could, I mean, not that Bill can't play or anything anymore, because I think he just came out with a solo album, but just the rigors of touring and playing that kind of material, I just don't know if he could have pulled it off, but it would have been interesting if he could have, you know, since they were all still alive, you know, the core of the original band, that would have been awesome. Yeah. So
it's like people still gripe about Kiss, you know, and it's like Peter Criss is 71.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, he may not be able to
exactly
rock and roll all night and party every day anymore.
Well, yeah, there's those rumors now that they're going to bring Ace back, but you know they won't bring Peter back.
No.
Well, I think, you know, that'd be kind of, you know, everything I've read and seen over the years between them and Ace, it's like, I don't know why Gene and Paul would want him back. You know, that's all the shit they've talked about him over the years.
Oh, I know.
And the guy definitely does seem like Space Cadet. So, you know, I heard something on the radio with him. He had some radio interview, and he was, it was several years ago, but I heard this, I can't remember where, it may have been the internet. He is like, on the radio with this guy, they just introduced him, and, you know, he's going to do this radio to everybody. He was like, well, and he was real excited, you know. He's like, well, I'm sorry. And he's talking to this thick Yankee accent, you know. Yeah. There's a UFO out of my yard right now. I don't think I can do this interview very much longer. And, you know, it's just like, wow.
Yes.
You know,
but hey, that's what you expect from him.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You know, you want that out of your rock stars a little bit. You know, you want some reality challenge folks there. You know.
Exactly.
Hopefully it's an act, but, you know.
You never know.
I figure it comes down to Gene knows if Ace is in the band, he's going to sell 2,000 more tickets than he would have with Tommy in the band. So
yeah, it's
good enough for him.
Business decisions definitely speak with old Gene, huh? Yeah. You know.
I think we covered it.
That's cool.
Yeah. We appreciate it.
Man, I'd appreciate it, guys.
Yeah.
We did kind of cover it fast.
I looked it up. We've done 96 episodes since we talked to you last.
No shit.
96 more. Huh. Is that number 14?
Oh, that's new one I knew. Yeah. Yeah, you guys are doing great shit, man. I fucking so appreciate it, man. I do. It's like the modern equivalent of, you know, like these local fanzines and shit that used to be around. That's what I've always thought, you know.
That's kind of how we got into it way back then. So.
And I used to love those kind of fanzine things,
go to Starship or Mohawk and pick them all up.
Yeah, it's just like,
we'd run awful things to put at Starship and stuff.
Yeah. Well, like you get all kinds of whacked out shit, you know. You might go out of town, go to the bar scene there, and they're there, you know, and you grab those and you start reading them and you learn about other bands.
Yeah.
You know, it's good stuff. I still got a bunch of those from the 90s, from all the kinds of different places I've went. Yeah. I keep most of my memorabilia over at my mom's just because it's too massive to bring over here.
Yeah. But
one of these days, I will like to break that shit out and show you.
Yeah,
I'll show you.
There you go, Steve Ray of Oklahombres, and of course, formerly of Pitbulls on Crack. Quite an honor to have him back on this podcast. We talked about the last time we had him on, we kind of went into more detail that we grew up in this area.
Yeah.
If you're a fan of heavy music in the Tulsa area, and you grew up in this area, you know that Pitbulls on Crack was one of the bigger deals around here for a long time.
Yes, they were.
And, being at the age we were when they were around, we kind of looked at that as like the band from Tulsa, you know, when we were 14, 15, 16, growing up in the early to mid 90s. And caught him live several times, and you go back and listen to that episode because we talked about Story one time when we saw him live, and him made everybody introduce us or everybody introduce themselves in the crowd because there was only like 18 of us. Just other great stuff like that. There's a lot of different stuff that we talked about more, Pibbles on Crack and Oklahombres than kind of we did on this one.
Yeah.
But this was kind of cool hearing all those stories about, the Brady Theater and Cain's Ballroom and.
Yeah, it's just it was a good a good conversation about just music, the venues, and just kind of a good history kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, you can look up Oklahombres on Facebook, give them a like. They're also on Reverb Nation. They have a few songs up there that an EP they put out in 2015, which is fantastic. Great Southern hard rock. Can't really go wrong with this kind of stuff. And dig through YouTube and find old Pitbulls on Crack videos as well.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that.
Yeah.
Ever.
Well, if you are listening on 102.7 WSNR, we appreciate it. You can find us online at thethunderunderground.com. If you're listening to us on SoundCloud, check out 102.7. It works both ways, right?
Definitely.
1027WSNR.com. It's also on the Crikey Premium Radio app. Which has a lot of great radio stations on there. But 102.7 plays, just all kinds of rock all across the board, from classic rock to heavy stuff. And at night, they play, the other nights of the week besides ours, they play podcasts as well. We're on every Monday, 7 p.m. Central. And we're also on SoundCloud.com/Thunder-Underground. We've had on guys from Shinedown, Megadeth, Crowbar, Corrosion Conformity, Death Angel, Europe, Warrant, Great White, Soil, The Obsessed.
Drowning Pool.
Yeah, Avatar.
Battlecross.
Insight.
There you go.
Yeah, and 109 other episodes before this one. Just dig through there, check them out. We've got tons of stuff, and we're also on Facebook, YouTube. YouTube, that's another thing to point out. We finally got around to uploading some of these past episodes and current episodes on YouTube, so you can check them out there as well. All the recent ones, and then some of the highlights from our past couple years are up there now, and as the weeks go, we'll get more up there, but you can also, so basically, you can listen to us now on YouTube.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And we've also got like reaction vids for like Black Sabbath and
Metallica, Avenged Sevenfold, and so if you just get on YouTube and subscribe, you'll be notified when we go live with that stuff, but obviously you can find it anytime on there. Well, we've got a busy week of concerts coming up.
Yeah, we do.
We've got, I'm going to Kiss tonight.
That's right. Oh, is that tonight? That is tonight.
Yeah, at the Joint here in Tulsa, which I'll talk about that after the fact. I normally wouldn't, Kiss has come here several times in the past decade, and I've skipped them all because I saw them, what did we say? Saw them 3 times, I think, in my life, and it's great. It's Kiss, but it's kind of, once you've seen one, it's a show you've seen them. And unless you're a diehard fan, they're not changing the set list. It's kind of, I'd love to go on that Kiss cruise.
Yeah.
But I couldn't pass up seeing them in the Joint just because it's like seeing Kiss in a small space. That option's never going to be around, unless I go on the Kiss cruise, I guess.
Yeah. But the Kiss cruises, that would be amazing to go to one day.
Yeah. Hear Creatures of the Night and
Unholy, Jesus.
Hang out with Florida Frank.
Yes, that would be the main reason I'd want to go.
Right.
Just for that.
Yeah.
Because that guy's awesome.
Yep.
And if you don't know, well then, I don't know, I feel sorry for you.
Yeah. You deserve a punch in the head.
That's right.
If you're not a Hatebreed fan. See, I just gave it away for him. Well, we've also got this coming Tuesday is Tesla in Tulsa. Then the next night, a week from tonight, Dropkick Murphys in Tulsa.
Yes.
The next Thursday is the Dirty Reggae Punks in Tulsa. DMG Productions. Shout out to Chris Taylor. Then that Friday is Seasons After in Tulsa. And then that Saturday is Fist of Rage, Smoke Offering, and Less Than Human at the Downtown Lounge.
Yes, I will be there.
Then that following 2 days later, that Monday, He Is Legend at Downtown Lounge. Yep. And I think that same Saturday night, Scream Red Mutiny is playing at the Shrine with 383 and
Really?
maybe Chuck Cooley, or no, someone else. There's a third band on the bill.
I did not know that. I'm slipping.
Yeah, it's kind of a tough choice between the two, but
Yeah.
we got to mention once again, if you're in this area, get out to Downtown Lounge as many times as you can in the next little over a month. I think it's March 26th or 8th is their last day, so they're putting on as many shows as they can between now and then. But just go support them regardless, because it's a great bar and it's going to be sadly missed for sure.
Yeah. He should, for his last show, he should get Black Snowflake and Saxon.
Yeah, a
play.
double bill.
That's right.
That'd be a co-headline, because I don't know who would open for who on that.
Yeah, I know. It'd be a tough one.
Yeah, definitely. Well, there's also one other thing I want to throw in, Holy Mountain in Tulsa.
Oh, man, yeah.
They're also closing down February 28th, so you've got right under a week to get in there. But the thing is, they've got a website you can get on, and he'll have his stock on there. You can buy from him online anytime, whether you're in this area or not. But who doesn't love going to record stores and just looking through the records? And Holy Mountain was always great because it's stocked full of just heavy music that most record stores don't have.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a bummer to see that go. But there is a new record store opening, but it's kind of the opposite end of it because it's one of the big guys. It's Josie Records, and they're a chain. But I guess something downtown's better than nothing, right?
Yeah, true.
But we will miss Holy Mountain for sure. Outside of that, get on Eat Thunder Underground, follow us on all the social medias, and listen to Oklahombres. And until next time.
Thunder Underground, y'all.